Hello guys, it's me, Greed here. Today I want to talk about Wu Yang because that character is incredibly overpowered. So, first things first with Wu Yang, we have to obviously address his damage output. Now, when you throw an uncharged orb that you can't control, it's a measly 30 damage. Now, the projectile splash is pretty big, and the projectile itself is pretty big, so you can still land them, but it's 30 damage. It's basically useless. So you'd probably think, oh, the charge shot is probably like 60 or 70 there, right? Just to make it a bit... It's 100 fucking damage. 100 damage, right? And listen, a projectile doing 100 damage, not necessarily a big deal. The number itself doesn't really matter, it's 100 damage. The specific issue I have with it is the fact that A, it's a support character, B, the projectile is absolutely fucking gargantuan, and 3, it's poke slop. It's more poke slop. It's more spam down main, shoot your gun, press left mouse button at the general direction of the enemy team, and because you can control the orbs, you actually don't even need to peek to poke them. It's like prime Sigma poke slop. It's shooting around corners, it's bouncing off the walls, and you can't even fight back. It's that kind of poke slop. So you just continuously chuck your orbs around the corner over and over and over and over again, dumping 100 damage at a time into these people, and you can throw them incredibly fast. It's a little silly how fast you can throw them. Now, I should preface this, I actually really like Wu Yang. I think he's pretty fun to play as, and he's fun to play against, and he's fun to have on your team. I like Wu Yang, but Wu Yang has problems, and I want to talk about those problems. Because some people are just going to go, you're complaining for the sake of complaining, I like Wu Yang, your opinion is wrong. Fair enough, you can believe that, totally valid. But to be clear, I do like Wu Yang. I like the being able to control the orbs with the left click. That's really cool. That's not a thing we've seen before. I like the beam, like the simplicity of it. I like mixing the active healing with the passive orb that you can put on people. Very interesting mechanics. I like them. They're fun. However, the character is ridiculously overpowered. And it is extremely important that I address how overpowered he is, because right now he's in a state of being overpowered where he is diminishing the amount of fun you could potentially have with the character, simply because he is so strong that you don't need to interact with 90% of the features the character has, and when you're playing as the character, it feels like bullshit to get absolutely pounded by this hero, because it feels kind of cheap, which I don't really like. So, that's his damage. I would say if I had to suggest a fix for this, I would literally just lower the damage, make the projectile slightly smaller or the splash radius smaller, so it required more aim to be useful, therefore it was less effective at spamming down main, and then even increase the projectile speed or make it so you can shoot them faster, something that gives him more agency about whether or not the actual skill being expressed is rewarded, if you understand what I'm saying. Because right now the most effective way to use his damage is by just spamming it down main and shooting your gun as quickly as you can fire it, because it's just so much damage and so much splash. But if you lower the amount of splash or the damage or so on and make it so it's more accuracy heavy, so you're more rewarded for your accuracy, then the character becomes infinitely more balanced because it's more skill based, and I think that's a better experience for the Wu Yang player because it's more rewarding that way, and I think it's better for the people on the receiving end of it because it doesn't feel like bullshit spam all day. So, now to get on to his healing. Now, his healing numbers are actually fine when you look at them at face value. For example, the little passive orb he puts on someone when he actually connects his beam to them is 25 healing per second. Then, when you actually hold the beam on them, you get extra healing, which is an extra 50. So it's a total of 75 healing per second. That is not that crazy. In fact, it's middle of the pack, slightly higher than middle of the pack healing numbers. Probably on the higher end, honestly. But I think that's absolutely fine. The problem with the healing comes from a certain cooldown. Now, the name of it is Guardian Wave. You'll obviously know it, because it's, how do I say, ridiculous might be the word. Basically, you just hit the ground, a big wave pops out, and it does some pretty interesting numbers. The first thing is it gives a flat 80 healing to yourself and everyone it hits, and if it's an enemy, it does between 80 and 40 damage to that enemy, and Not only that, it also gives plus 50% healing received to any of your teammates that it hits. Meaning that you go up to, what, like an insane 110 something healing per second or something? So you got 110 healing per second, plus the 80 healing of burst they just got, plus the 80 damage, plus its AoE. It's just a ridiculous cooldown that buffs his healing numbers into a state that is inconceivable. To output this much damage and this much healing is crazy. Now, for you to have these two things, you would need some large downside, right? Think Moira. Moira can output quite a lot of damage. Not nearly as much as Wu Yang, but quite a lot of damage. And she can output a lot of healing. Now, is it as much as Wu Yang? Probably not. But, you know, they're relatively similar. Sure, they're different in the way they operate, but the actual numbers themselves are relatively similar, I would imagine. So, like Moira, you have very minimal utility to actually operate. All of your actual utility comes from the fact that you're able to stay alive for a long period of time. So all of the strength that you get from a Moira is the fact that you have a character that can output good stats and that's good at staying alive, and those are the benefits. Now, you don't obviously get the utility options like an Ana does, because Ana doesn't have the survival abilities as Moira. That makes sense, right? However, Wu Yang is a character that has incredible utility because his left-click damage orb boops you a little bit, it CCs you, so that limits your movement, it makes you easier to shoot. The wave boops you and limits your movement, which makes you easier to shoot and displaces you. It does 80 burst healing to yourself and all teammates. It gives them 50% increased healing received, does 80 to 40 damage to anyone it touches, plus the orb is 100 damage, plus the healing is over 100 a second. It is fucking ridiculous how much this character has. And it's not even mentioning the ult or the other ability that he's got. For example, his ultimate, let's look at the numbers, I got the wiki. 2800 ult points, not that expensive. You press it, it attaches to someone, it heals them for 250 healing, right? It gives you 250 health when you give it to someone. And it also gives you 400 over health. So basically 650 flat heals, essentially speaking. Not only that, it creates a big area of effect around someone, whether that's yourself or your teammate, you can choose which you prefer, and after a certain period of time, I don't know exactly how long it is, it's 3.5 seconds, right? So, once you give someone the ult, after 3.5 seconds, a big AoE explosion happens around the Wu Yang, which deals 100 damage and knocks them over like they've been Rhine shattered for 1.5 seconds. The stats on this character are absolutely absurd. It's 100 damage, plus they fall over, plus whatever damage you're doing into them while they're falling over. You essentially may as well call this cool. It's called Tidal Blast. It may as well be called Nuclear Bomb, because it's literally unbeatable. It's not even a win condition ultimate, right? I wouldn't even classify it as a win condition. It is a win defining ultimate. It is the winning ultimate. Press the button. It's old Kitsune Rush, essentially. It was, oh, they have Kitsune, we lost. Now it's, oh, they have Tidal Blast, we lost. You cannot compete, especially when you have a good team that understand how to use this ult effectively. Oh, my Ryan's got it. Just full W key their backline. What are they going to do? Try to stop us? Okay, you'll all fall over and die. So, yeah, you're either going to let us run into the backline and kill them all, or you're going to kill yourself, and there's no other options. That is literally just how it works. Now, we're not even on to the most crazy part of this character yet, right? Somehow it gets more insane. Firstly, his hitbox is absolutely fucking tiny. He is a toothpick. He's very small. So that makes him hard to hit already. But he has a cooldown called Rushing Torrent, which for 4 seconds gives him increased movement speed. He gets a burst of 25 meter per second movement speed. A burst of 25 meter per second. He then gets 11.2 meters per second jump speed. And he gets plus 50% base movement speed. So you get a big burst where you move at 25 meters per second for a shorter period of time. You jump a lot faster and higher, and you move a lot faster for 4 seconds. All while, remember, having all of the other things I've already talked about. You have that as well. So now, to put into perspective, to put all the things together, Wu Yang is a fun character, right? However, putting all of this shit together, you have a character with some of the best poke in the game, some of the best on a support character, some of the best healing in the game, the best ultimate in the game, a tiny hitbox, and some of the most healing in the game, with some of the most utility in the game. This character, right, because, like, people aren't really realizing it, right? Because at face value, when you look at each cooldown, when you look at each ability, when you look at each thing, you go, yeah, that's fine, yeah, that's probably fine, yeah, that's fine, oh, look at the cooldown of it, it's a long cooldown, yeah, that's fine. But when you mix these things together, you have an undivable poke slop spam fest infinite sustain character with utility and a game-winning ultimate. He has everything. There is not a singular thing Wu Yang is bad at. It's not nothing he struggles with. He isn't diveable. He isn't. You can't get on top of him because he just runs away. The character is fucking insane. So obviously, I talked about how you fix the damage. I don't know how you fix the rest of this. I haven't thought about it for long enough. The numbers are incredibly broken. Now, the actual design of the different abilities aren't that problematic, okay? For example, to fix the wave, it's relatively easy. Make the cooldown a lot shorter, get rid of the boop, get rid of the damage, just make it a flat healing thing, give him the heal boost if you want, that's fine. You know, even keep some of the damage. Keep like 40 damage, right? That's fine. But you cannot have the numbers this ridiculously high. He's literally a stat monster. He is unbeatable. The amount of shit players that are just locking Wu Yang and insta-winning is ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about Wu Yang. I love you all. I hope you have a good day. My name is Greed. I don't know why I'm... Anyway, goodbye. Have a good day. Goodbye, goodbye. Right on your forehead. You can't dodge that one, Buster. Goodbye. Have a good day. Okay, goodbye.